Yeah, that's a little bit of that retro gaming music for you guys who really played some real games. Today, our guest at the Gamify podcast is Tony Cade. Let me tell you something. We about to have a for real discussion about some for real games. I don't think y'all ready for this right here, but we're gonna have a lot of fun here at the Gamify podcast. We talk everything gaming, art, music, esports, and film. And if you can't vibe with this music right here, then I don't know if you really have played a game or if you really understand this whole culture, this whole gamer life. Shouts out to Kimco, Atlanta Gamer Life. That's what's up. But again, we got Tony Cade online right here. Tony, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad that you were able to join us today to share a little bit about who you are, what you do, what you're doing with your store and everything. And so we're just going to kind of jump into it here. We have a question that we ask everybody that comes on this podcast because everybody has been touched by this industry one way or another. So when did you fall in love with video games?
Well, like I said, I'm what you call old school. Okay. My original game system was Pong.
Tell them about it.
Okay. That was all we had on it. It was a system. It had like a little monitor screen and it had some dials on it. It had Pong. And the games we had the option of playing were volleyball, hockey, and soccer.
In the Pong. So people don't understand, Tony. People don't understand.
The system that I had was Pong.
Wow.
And we all played some version of it where the ball would be bouncing the little cube and we had to bounce it off, the square pieces.
Man, that I'm telling you.
It was all like it basically soccer, volleyball, and tennis.
Yep. That was
basically
it.
our options. And then of course later on, the first game system that the family got, my dad one day brought home an Atari 2600. And that's the very first game, system with cartridges that we had, where we actually had a choice of what games we played.
What was your favorite game on the Atari? What was your favorite game?
Oh, the football.
Oh, tell me.
Basically the football game. You had the 3-on-3.
Oh my gosh.
And that, basically, every pass was either like you ran it yourself, with the bootleg, or you got to throw it.
And you watch the little dot go.
Oh yeah.
Across the thing, man. Oh my goodness, you bring
those
so
many joysticks.
So many memories. So many memories, man. I remember we talked in one of our first episodes. We let everybody know about Gerald Lawson, who actually invented the technology for interchangeable cartridges. So.
Oh yeah.
When you talked about, all we could do was actually play Pong, or you were going to an arcade. So either you were in the arcade, but if you were at home, all you could do was play Pong on that was your console. And then you I had Intellivision. I didn't do Atari. I had Intellivision. I went that route. Pitfall was one of my favorite games on that, and so I would play that on the Atari as well.
Pitfall was when they added some color. See, I was playing when everything was in black and white.
Oh yeah.
So you got to look at stuff in color.
Oh my goodness. The
dots had some color to them,
they were, and that was graphics back in the day. They thought they were doing something, and you actually could go through the screen and go into you find they call it the alternate dimension or whatever. You fall through the quicksand, and then you underneath it, you get to beat the board running underneath the whole board. And so that's when I remember when they used to talk about that for with Mario and everything. You found like the alternate universes and stuff, and I was like, they were already doing that. I was already doing that with Pitfall, and that was the best way because I could skip a few rounds and have to jump over the alligator and fall in his mouth anymore. I could just skip that whole part. That was fun. Oh man, we just going.
I was gaming way before that. Back when I had like my little big 20 computer system. And you sit there and be typing in stuff in BASIC, and then you spend like your whole day typing. And all it did was like make the screen flash different colors. And you'd be like, I spent the entire day doing all that typing, doing all that coding, making sure everything was right. And all you're gonna get me is a screen flash of multiple colors.
Well, let's talk about when you couldn't even get that to go because you had a comma out of place or you had a space out of place. And you spend all that time. You were like, what is going on? And then you leave. And I used to have to call people in, please come look at this. look at this and tell me what's. And they was like, oh yeah, you this. I was like, oh my God, that was my syntax error. Really? That's all that. And that's when I knew I was not going to be a programmer. I was like, oh, I'm not cut out for that. So, yeah. So Tony, tell us.
I feel your pain.
Exactly. Your pain. Tell us where you are right now, and what are you doing?
Well, I'm the owner of Challenges Games and Comics, which is right over here at North DeKalb Mall in Decatur, Georgia. You see behind me and stuff. We've got this is pretty much like my board gaming section. We got our miniatures and stuff over here. Over on the side where you can't see, we got our Gunplas and our comic books and stuff like that. But we basically specialize in the games that are not video games. So I basically carry like the board games, the miniature games, the collectible card games, the strategy games, the one-on-one games, the co-op games.
Oh, yeah.
Got a few chess sets still around,
Oh, yeah.
That made it through the Christmas holiday season. So that's the only time I actually carry the chess sets is around the holiday season.
Well, you know what, though, and that's one of the things that I try to tell people about. So when we teach game design, a lot of parents, they talk about, well, when are they going to get to the systems and when are they going to, start coding and when they're going to start doing all these things on the internet. I'm like, first of all, we need them to understand the game design cycle. So, you go from your brainstorming and then, you probably won't even make it to software prototype for at least a year or the first session that you're with us, because we really want you to understand the physical prototype, and physical prototypes are nothing but really board games. And so I tell people, when you want to get into the industry, you can think about, I want to make the next PlayStation 2 game or this, that, and the other, and I want to get into Riot Games or whatever studio you want to get into. But I tell people, when you design a game, there are two things that can happen when you design a game before you even get to the software part. First of all, you have the storyboarding. You have to do your storyboard first. So after you do your brainstorming and get all that out together, then you start working on your storyboard. That's a comic book. A storyboard is really literally a comic book. So you can develop characters that you can turn into a comic book as you continue to work. So that's one way you can make some money. Or you can start on that aspect of it, which can become a TV show and a movie, a la Marvel. Or you can get to the physical prototype and you have a board game that people would like to get. So how many times, let me ask you this question. Did you play Dungeons and Dragons growing up?
Well, yeah. Dungeons and Dragons originally started in the 70s. And actually, I didn't get involved in Dungeons and Dragons till like 83. I was actually playing in chess tournaments for my high school.
Okay.
And we had just beaten a school named Parkview. And, the guys come over and stuff. I went to East Atlanta High School, which doesn't even exist anymore. But we were basically like 99% black.
Right, right.
As far as like our students were concerned. So we are playing in the chess tournaments and stuff out here in Georgia. And we go against Parkview, which is out in the suburbs. And so, we beat them in chess, no problem. And then the guys come up to us and stuff, and we're like, uh-oh, what's going on? What's about to happen?
About to throw it down.
And then it's like, they actually put the whole team together and came over in force, so we're like, uh-oh, what's going on, we got to get hood up in here, what's up? All right, so, and most of us on the chess team, and so we thought we were proper nerds. We were collecting comic books. We were playing chess. We thought we had this whole nerd life figured out and everything. All right. And so they come up to us and stuff, and they're like, yo, man, that was a really great game. They're like congratulating us for like whipping on them, And then they're like, you guys play Dungeons and Dragons? And then we're all like looking at each other, because this is like before the cartoon came out and everything.
Right,
so
right.
Like, what's Dungeons and Dragons? They're like, oh man, it's this really cool game and blah, blah. You need to come over to our house and everything like that. And they were like, y'all want us to come out to the house out in the suburbs? We don't know about that, But,
So you ain't about that nerd life.
Our coach, was, Colonel Meeks. And he was like, oh, I'd be happy to take you guys out there. So we jumped in, the school van and stuff one day and went out to Parkview. And these guys taught us how to play Dungeons and Dragons. And we were like, oh, there's more to this nerd life than we thought. There's a whole bunch of stuff out here that we don't know nothing about.
Started going down the rabbit hole.
Our horizons. Because when we started playing D&D, we did not stop playing D&D. The first thing I started doing once I got my first store, I started teaching brothers how to play D&D.
Man, that is when you talk about role play and really, really getting into it, that is the number one game. But there's so many offshoots. I look at games now. And then I look back at Dungeons and Dragons D&D, and I say, okay, I can see where that came from. The imagination that it takes to start to craft some of those the games that they're coming out with now. I was like, okay, I can see where it comes from because it made you think on a whole nother level. Just to be able to do that and feel okay. Because like you're saying, if you played games, if you played chess, you were a nerd. And it was cool. We were cool. But you could get your nerd card pulled. Amongst ourselves, we were cool. Yeah. For everybody else, which is why I said I grew up in the wrong time. Because if you're a nerd right now, you're in. You're good. Oh, yeah. I wish. I was like, oh, my God, this is... right, Julian? Right? Yeah. My boy Julian still in here. He was like, yes, nerd culture is what it is now, and nerds are taking over the world. Revenge of the Nerds was one of my favorite movies because the nerds would win. And I was like... that's how it's supposed to be, but that's cool. So what are some of the things that you guys are doing now, and how did COVID affect you guys, and how did y'all kind of overcome some of those obstacles?
Well, for us, when COVID hit, we had to shut down here for about 2 weeks, mm-hmm. which actually got us the opportunity to go and inventory our store inventory. And basically put everything up on a website, which we probably wouldn't have had the time to do if it wasn't in the middle of a shutdown. And so what we were able to do was slowly come out of it by pushing out on social media that we had a website and offering people delivery and curbside service, and we'd also ship.
Okay.
And so, that helped us stay afloat until things and restrictions started easing up. And then, even though we were still offering curbside service and delivery, as soon as people felt that they could leave their house, they kept saying they want to come to the store. They don't want to order online. They don't want to do curbside service. It's the experience.
It's the experience. Right. You want to feel the pages.
As long as you're not sick and you got a mask, come on in.
Oh man, that loves. And I tell people, COVID has been bittersweet for a lot of us in this industry. And when I say the industry, people think I'm just talking about esports or I'm just talking about gaming. But I've always sought to pull together everything that is a part of the lifestyle. So you have your tabletop games, your regular games, your board games. I mean, I think I've played some at Sieges in the past, and even at MomoCons in the past, because you guys were a big part of that too. I've actually had a chance. You also had... what was the name of the conference you guys did that you all hosted?
Oh, the Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo?
Yes.
Yeah, this was supposed to be our 6th year. We had over 50 vendors scheduled, and we had over 60 hours worth of programming. And we were actually going to have our first media guest.
Wow.
We had a bunch of background actors and stuff from Cobra Kai and from Black Lightning that were supposed to be in attendance at the show.
2 shows that are filmed here in Atlanta. A lot of people don't know, but I'm telling you,
Cobra Kai, season 2, episode 5. This story's in it.
Yes, you know what? I looked and I was like, wait a minute, because people sleeping on Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is actually a good movie. I like how they throw the throwback 80s music in there, and I'm like, I was like, yeah, y'all needed this, and those kids need that 80s infusion to make them great. That's how I feel. But again, so what was that like? So
I'm all about the 80s. You see, I still got my.
I know you got that box. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at you. Looking good over there. Got your MLK Atlanta throwback. I was gonna say throwback jersey, but it's not. It's a tribute jersey to Martin Luther King for the Atlanta Hawks. So I mean, I got to get me one now. Represent. I got to get me one of those. But what was that like having your store be a part of a TV show like that?
Oh, it was great. And it was one of the things that I get to actually, check out the behind the scenes, because most of, I don't know about all of the shows, but what was shot here in the mall and in the shop was one camera. And they basically shot over and over again from different angles. And so the editing to make that fight scene look as awesome as it did is all on the editors. It's Because when you're seeing it, it's like, oh, that doesn't look that impressive. No, when you watch it on TV, it got impressive really quick.
Oh man,
it got really impressive. And then actually, cool. The crazy thing about it is that some of the cast members, like the guy who plays Miguel Solo, he was already playing like Dungeons and Dragons, but Hawk and the other characters and everything had not played Magic the Gathering. So while they were here filming, we actually taught them how to play Magic the Gathering. So they still come to the shop to this day to buy the Magic cards and their D&D books.
Wow. And see, and so again, this is how the industry is together. So it's not just video games, it's not just esports, it's not just comic books, it's not just cosplay. We are all a part of the same community, and to see that play out at your store, literally all of that together just again shows how needed we are, really. In society today, because it allows you to just, that imagination is key. If you're gonna be something or somewhere, you got to have imagination, and where else to get that imagination from but a store like Challenges. So, oh my goodness, this has been awesome. We got to get you on again, Tony. This is I can't, man. I have so many.
Fine. I'm here like every day.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, look for it. We're going to get you on. So if they were going to follow you, I know you said you got the website going on. Where can people follow you to get some good stuff from you?
Well, like I said, just Google Challenges Games. We've got a website. We've got the Instagram. We've got the Twitter. We're still on Facebook. I know it's kind of like passe for some of these young people, but we're still on kicking it with the Facebook. And we've actually got a YouTube and a Twitch channel, but to be honest, I don't have the time to actually run those the way I would like to.
Don't worry about it. We're going to get you some interns in there to help you. So what other projects are you working on? Oh, yeah, we're going to get you some interns. So we're going to get you right. We're going to get you right. But what are some projects you're working on right now?
Well, besides, the regular events we have here at the store, I'm actually working on a Kickstarter, which is actually going to launch next Sunday. It's going to be a comic book production that I'm working on called The Fox Chronicles. Ooh. It's going to be like a 30-page adventure. It's like a coming-of-age story of a young lady in a slightly futuristic time period. It's going to have action in it. It's going to have your space battles and your fight scenes.
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to be basically about, her development in life and her learning and her sharing her experiences with the audience.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
Something that I think both adolescents, kids, and adults are going to be really into.
Say that. Well, we're going to have you on. When y'all launch, we're going to have you back on so we can make sure we bring some people and get some awareness about the Kickstarter. Because, we have
we launch next Sunday.
Oh, well, that's up. So either next Sunday or the Sunday after, we'll make sure you have it. How long is the Kickstarter going to be for?
It's going to be for 30 days.
Okay, good. So, yeah, we got you. So we're going to definitely have you back on and talk a little bit more about that, because I'd love to find out a little bit more about the if you want to give a little bit more details about the comic book. I don't want to put too much out there for everybody. I want them to make sure they get the comic book. But, comic book creation is something that we believe in as well. That's one of our for Pharaoh's Conclave, that's one of our tracks and pathways we talk about. So, again,
actually, the way it started off and stuff for me, produce comic books, is that in our old location that we used to have on Memorial Drive, I used to actually have art classes in the shop.
Oh my goodness!
And we actually had a group that came in and was doing screenwriting. And so I was basically like, wait a minute here. I've got a group of artists over here that are working on their craft. I got a bunch of writers over here. Why don't I put the two groups together? And after I did that, we started producing comic books.
Oh, Tony, you done said something right there. I'm gonna have to.
And actually, we're
gonna pull that back.
Stuff that we've cultivated have went on to work for Marvel, DC, CrossGen.
Oh my goodness!
Image, all of Valiant.
We're gonna bring it back, Tony. You done said something. We're gonna bring it back because that's one of the things that I wanted. I know a lot of young people that are great artists. I know a lot of people who just want to write stories. Young people. And so they were like, well, can I just do one? I was like, yes, you can. We can get a team. You can write the stories, and we can get your artists to do the illustrations, and we're good to go. And so we'll make sure that we'll bring that back. We definitely going to bring it back because COVID is about to get out of the way, and we're going to make it do what it do.
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right. Well, Tony, thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you again as we talk more about the Kickstarter with Challenges and the comic book that you're working on. Man, this has been awesome. I can't wait till we get back to the Atlanta science fiction. Atlanta, I'm saying it wrong. Say it for me one more time, Tony.
Oh, talk about the convention, the Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo.
The Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo. I'm ready for the next one. The last one,
yeah, they can pull it up on Facebook. You can see like the pictures of like all our crowds.
My son loved it. My son loved it. I brought my son. Matter of fact, after that, we got him his 3D printer, and he 3D prints Beyblades now.
Cool.
So that's what he did, and he got inspired by one of the vendors you had at the last expo. So that's awesome. But thank you again for joining us at the Gamify Podcast, where we talk everything gaming, arts, music, esports, and film. So this again has been Tony K with Challenges over there at North Decatur, where it's greater, making it do what it do. So again, everybody, make sure you check him out and you follow him. We'll have you back again real soon. So thanks again. We'll be right back.